What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi, and welcome back to the Courtside Financial podcast, the podcast where we talk about business and technology. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Apple and autonomous driving. Apple just dropped a bombshell of an announcement regarding their autonomous driving program, and trust me, this is something that's got everyone talking. Whether you're an investor, tech enthusiast, or just someone interested in the direction that Apple is going in, this is going to be an episode that you don't want to miss. So let's get started. You know, it's funny, just a year ago, and we talked about this on the channel, Apple completely shelved their autonomous car manufacturing project. Many of us thought that this was the end of their automotive dream, but here we are in February 2025, and Apple's making waves again. This time with an approach that makes a lot more sense. What's particularly interesting is the timing of this announcement. The EV market's been going through some serious consolidation. Margins are getting squeezed, and even EV leaders are feeling the pressure across the board. So Apple's decision to pivot away from the manufacturing of it all and focus more on the software side, well, that seems to be like a pretty smart idea with how everything's playing out right now. Let me break down what's really interesting here. Apple's developed what they're calling self-play, their own technology for autonomous driving. Now, I know what you're thinking. Obi, what the heck is self-play? Well, instead of putting lots of cars on the road and gathering real-world data, Apple has come up with a sophisticated simulation system that can generate billions of miles of driving scenarios in just a few days. Here's what blew my mind. In just 10 days, they simulated 1.6 billion kilometers of driving data. To put that into perspective, that's like driving from Earth to the sun and back multiple times. And obviously they're doing this at a fraction of the cost of real world driving data. We're talking about $5 per kilometer of training data. That's extremely cost effective. But let's get into the real technical magic here. Apple's using something called minimalist reward system. Think of it as a system that kind of gives the AI points or takes away points, whether it's doing something right or wrong. What's clever about their approach is they're compensating for the simplicity of the system through sheer scale. Overall, the amount of data that they're processing is just staggering. But let's take a step back for some context. Many of you might remember Apple's Titan project from 2014. They went all in, hired over 1,000 experts, spent billions of dollars, and basically tried to become the next Tesla. But here's where it gets interesting. They ran into the same walls that many tech companies hit when they try to enter the automotive space. Manufacturing cars isn't just like trying to manufacture phones or laptops. It's an entirely different beast with razor-thin margins, complex supply chains, and lots of regulatory red tape. Apple learned this the hard way, and honestly, it's refreshing to see them pivot to what they do best: software and systems. Let me share a fascinating detail that many don't know about the Titan project. Apple's vision wasn't just to invent a car, it was actually to reimagine transportation entirely. They explored radical designs, innovative user interfaces, and even new materials. But as they dove deeper into the realities of auto manufacturing, they realized that innovation in this industry isn't just about good ideas. It's about executing on those ideas within the constraints of safety regulations, manufacturing capabilities, and cost considerations. Now, this is where I think the market might be missing the bigger picture. Apple isn't trying to compete with Tesla or NIO or any auto manufacturer directly. They're positioning themselves as a technology provider. Think about it. They already have Apple CarPlay in millions of vehicles. They've built relationships with major auto manufacturers like BMW and Hyundai. This isn't just about autonomous driving, it's about building an ecosystem. And let's talk about CarPlay for a moment because it's crucial in understanding Apple's go-forward strategy. The latest version of CarPlay isn't just about playing music or showing maps anymore. It can take over your entire dashboard, control your climate settings, and even integrate with advanced driver assistance systems. This deep integration with vehicle systems gives Apple a massive advantage in implementing their autonomous driving technology. So let me geek out for a minute about how this technology actually works. Traditional autonomous driving systems rely only on real-world data from cameras, radars, and lidars. But Apple's approach is different. They're using something called a gigaflow simulator, which can process 4.4 billion state transitors per hour. That's 360,000 times faster than real world data collection. And here's where it gets interesting too. They're using just 8 A100 NVIDIA chips in the public cloud to achieve this. For those not familiar with hardware, these are some of the most powerful AI chips available. But it's still remarkable that they're achieving these results with relatively modest computing resources. The system works by essentially playing games against itself, constantly improving and learning from each iteration. It's similar to how AI learned to master complex games like chess and Go, but applied to the infinitely more complex problem of driving. But here's the catch, and I think it's crucial for everyone to understand. Simulation is not everything. The real world is messy, unpredictable, and full of edge cases that no simulation can prepare for. Tesla fans are quick to point this out, and they're not entirely wrong. Tesla has billions of miles of real world driving data, which in the time we live in right now is incredibly valuable. So what does this mean for the market? Well, I think that there's several key implications. First, this could dramatically lower barriers to entry in autonomous driving. We talked about how BYD is kind of doing that a little bit. Watch the last video if you haven't. But if companies can train their systems primarily through simulation, we definitely will see more players entering this space. This could lead to more innovation and potentially faster advancement of technology. Second, I think that this might trigger a wave of partnerships between tech companies and automakers. Apple is already hinting at this with their focus of providing the technology rather than manufacturing the car. I wouldn't be surprised to see similar moves from other tech giants. I mean, Huawei is kind of taking this approach as well. Third, and this is where it gets extremely interesting for investors, this could open up new revenue streams. Imagine Apple licensing this kind of technology to multiple automakers, creating a high margin software-based business model in the automotive sector. We're talking about the potential for recurring revenue from software updates, features like add-ons, and then obviously ongoing technical support. Fourth, this could reshape the competitive landscape in unexpected ways. Traditional automakers who kind of have this gap that they need to fill right now could find themselves with a significant advantage in the race to full autonomy. This could lead to some interesting shifts in market share and valuation. But let's be realistic here. There's still significant hurdles to overcome. This technology needs to prove itself in real-world conditions, simulation or not. Regulatory approval will be a major challenge, and we can't forget that competition in this space is still fierce. With everyone from Tesla to NIO to Waymo, and even traditional automakers are now making investment in autonomous driving technology. There is a lot of competition in this market. So let's break down some significant challenges. The first is validation. How do you prove that simulated training translates to real-world performance? This isn't just about technical validation, it's about convincing regulators and the public that this type of technology is safe. The second is integration. Every auto manufacturer has their own hardware and software setup, whether that be in-house or outsourced. You know, they've got sensor configurations and their own system architecture on top of all that as well. So making Apple's technology work seamlessly across the board, that's going to be a major challenge, and it's going to be a challenge that all the hardware manufacturers or car manufacturers have to get on board with. The third is market adoption. Will automakers be willing to cede control of such crucial technology to Apple? There might be concerns of becoming too dependent on Apple's ecosystem, similar to what we've seen in the smartphone market. This development could have far-reaching implications far beyond Apple and the automotive industry as a whole. Think about the implications for urban planning, insurance, energy infrastructure, and even real estate. I had to step away for a second, but all these industries could be impacted impacted if autonomous vehicles change the way that people think about commuting and car ownership. We're also seeing interesting reactions from different players in the market. Traditional automakers seem cautiously optimistic. Some of them might view this as a shortcut to accelerate their journey to fully autonomous vehicles. Tech companies are watching closely too, probably considering similar approaches. If Apple can do it, why can't we? And the autonomous driving specialist, they're reviewing these strategies as we speak. So here's my take. Apple's transition from their manufacturing to technology provision is a smart strategy. They're playing to their strengths: software, systems, and integration. While I remain cautiously optimistic, I think the real test will be how well can they execute on this vision and whether automakers will embrace their technology or not. For investors watching this space, I'd pay close attention to announcements about partnerships between tech companies and automobile manufacturers. This is where we'll see the real validation of this strategy. Also, watch for any updates on real-world testing programs. That will be crucial for understanding how well the simulation-based training models translate to real-world driving situations. Remember, the autonomous driving sector is still in its early stages. While Apple's approach does sound innovative, it's just one of many approaches to achieving this place of nirvana, which is fully autonomous driving. The key in this space is to stay informed, think critically, and understand that success in this will probably be a blend of multiple approaches. Anyways, that's all for today's episode of the Courtside Financial Podcast. I hope that you found this valuable, useful, insightful, at the very least entertaining. If it was any of those things, make sure that you hit the like button, click the subscribe button, notification bell icon, and leave a comment down below. All that engagement really does go a long way in helping out the channel, helping us to reach a broader audience. Without further ado, or not without further ado, I'm out of it today, but we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.